Seb Dance, Labour MEP for London, cuts to roaming charges, those fees for using your mobile phone abroad on holiday or for business. What's your reaction?
It's absolutely fantastic news. The costs to travellers, whether you're travelling on business or whether you're going on holiday, have often been prohibitive when it comes to using your mobile phone. And the fact is now, when you make and receive calls, make and receive text, but also crucially use data, the fact that those costs are being cut by the EU is fantastic news.
And you mentioned data as well, so-called kind of for using the internet or email, that kind of thing when you're abroad. I guess that's something that's a growing part of the market, especially for businesses, but also for holidaymakers as well.
Absolutely. I mean, people use their smartphones more and more for data, whether it's reading emails or tweeting or Facebook or even watching videos. And the fact is that the cost per megabyte before the caps were announced in the first round of price reductions, it was simply impossible to turn on data roaming when you came on holiday. The fact is now it's becoming more and more common. It's becoming easier and easier for people to do that. And eventually, come 2016, roaming charges will be abolished entirely.
And I'll ask you about that in a minute, but do you think with these latest cuts we're seeing an end, or we're going to be seeing an end to those kind of horror stories that we've kind of all heard about, people coming back from holiday or from business trips and having astronomically high bills?
I hope so. I mean, what a lot of mobile phone companies did is introduce caps so that people didn't end up running up massive charges unwittingly. But of course, in doing so, because the cost of using data or phone calls or text was so high, people would, in practice, reach their limit far sooner than they would like. Now, hopefully, people can browse the internet, can email and use all of the things that they want to do on their smartphone for much longer. And of course, the lower the unit cost, the longer they can do that. But ultimately, I think abolishing roaming charges across the whole of the European Union, as of course is our ultimate aim, is a fantastic goal to set. And it's fantastic that it's the EU that's leading the way in this.
You say that's the ultimate game. The ultimate aim is to get rid of roaming charges altogether. How practical is that? Presumably that would require a lot of sorting out at a European level for law, but also with the technical behind the scenes of the providers and the operators and so forth.
Yes, I mean there is a call for a single market in telecommunications, and that will reduce costs, as I say, not just for travellers on holiday, but also for businesses as well. But I think that is very achievable, given the fact that we have heard all sorts of protestations beforehand, before the first round of cuts to consumers was introduced by the EU, from the mobile phone companies saying, oh, this wouldn't be possible, this isn't doable, it's anti-competitive. But in actual fact, of course, we've seen year on year an increase in use of mobile telecommunications by citizens throughout the EU. So, the market is not catching up in some senses with what people would like it to do, which of course is to reduce the costs that they're facing. And as the technology becomes more prolific, as people get more and more used to using their phones for a variety of different ways, those costs will come down.
And briefly, a final question: should it be up to the mobile phone companies to perhaps take responsibility themselves? So far, the price caps have had to have been enforced by European law.
There are some companies that have preempted some of the cuts to charges and have introduced specific packages. But I think it's fair to say that the majority have lagged behind on this and have been pretty against a lot of the proposals that have come through from the European Parliament and the Commission on this. And I think it just shows that you really do need action at multi-state level. It shows the advantages of working together with other member states to actually achieve something for the consumer, and that's ultimately what we're here to do.